And I shared with you that someone that I know who asked me, how can someone still make money in this profession when online there are so many people talking about the topic of business credit and business funding. And so I talked about that we are all not created equal. We're all not the same. And although people want to believe that, we are not the same. And depending on where you are at as an individual and what you are aligned to, meaning what your beliefs are, the relationship that you have with money, your thoughts about funding and credit, it's going to determine who you listen to. And I know someone like myself, I'm all about principle-based funding. And I'm not going to say that my way is the only way, but it's a way that I have taught my clients how to be able to access funding. And once they learn those foundational principles, the world can become your oyster. And so with that being said, there's a lot of people, in the marketplace who are giving advice. And so during that podcast episode, I talked about that business funding doesn't fix a broken business. And that was a lot, for some people that is going to create a trigger. Because I can only speak on what I did. When I decided to embark on educating individuals about leveraging credit, it didn't begin there. If you look at the historical information on my YouTube channel, you may be watching me on YouTube, or you may be listening to me on one of the podcast apps. On YouTube, I have content regarding credit that dates back all the way to 2012, 2013. I mean, it's definitely 10 years plus of content. But within that content, when I decided to go to the marketplace and share about personal credit, it was based on an experience that I had and a lot of my clients from a previous business that I had. And I was teaching individuals about rebuilding their credit and dealing with debt collectors. And so as time progressed, as I grew as a person, my content grew as well. And so as I grew as a person, there were things that I started learning and getting access to and applying that I thought this information may be valuable to those that, I that I speak to, here on YouTube, because at that time, YouTube was really the only place that I was sharing content. And so starting at 2013, and then about 2016, 2017, between 3 to 4 years later, I grew as an individual, started doing some things on my own, learned a few things, and I started learning about the value and ways that you can leverage credit. But with me, it always started with a foundational base. Once again, that's what I believe. Those are my beliefs. That's how I've always taught people. It never started from a salacious standpoint. Once again, I don't say this to make a mockery of those who are in a marketplace who decide that how they want to share information or teach people when it comes to business funding or business credit. But I've never taught from the standpoint of it being sensationalized or using salacious tactics. And so what I find now, because I still have people who come to me, whether they send me a DM, whether they send me an email and my assistant sends it to me, I find it very ironic that people have an idea of where they're at, which is they may be at ground zero. They have nothing. And for some reason, they think that business funding is going to magically change their circumstance. And once again, going back to the last podcast episode, it depends on who you're tuning into. And I've always said to people, if you are tuning into someone that has a process that you find interesting or you deem to be valuable, then you need to have those individuals share it with you from a standpoint of how do you as the person connect the dots. Because what I'm finding is people are getting these I guess these plays, these gems, these keys, and they don't know how to apply it to real life. And so